Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome back to another episode of the same old Arsenal podcast. 4 men and a mic edition. We're back, although it is only three men and a mic this evening because James forgot that he'd booked himself a nice dinner somewhere. So that's where he is, eating his nice dinner somewhere. But he will surely be back very, very soon. Thank you to everyone who's already here. Hello, hope you're all good. The same faces keep coming back. It's all good. Lovely to see you all. Thank you very much indeed. Of course, joining me this evening, Mr. Danny. How are you, sir?
I am very good. I'm halfway through my dinner. I told you that I'm on a new strict diet, so it's 2 cheese double quarter pounders. But I'm not eating all the buns. That's the difference. And I'm not having a McFlurry and an apple pie after.
Just 4 patties, cheese, gherkins, onions, tomato sauce, mustard.
No, I'm a man. I don't eat gherkins and onions and lettuce and all that nonsense. No, I have meat. Just meat. There's no calories in meat, is there? It's just protein. It's good for you.
Yeah, that's right. Especially McDonald's ones.
Yes.
Chris, how are you, sir? How have you been?
I have been splendid. I, like Danny, am on a trying to be healthy, but that does not include alcohol. I reject and renounce the whole concept of dry January. So I got absolutely wasted at the weekend for my wife's birthday, and it was delightful.
I love it. I can't remember the last time I was drunk, to be honest. Like, I'm proper drunk now, I can't remember. I don't suppose you're supposed to remember anyway, are you?
I was also celebrating the moral victory that we got at the weekend.
I'm sure we'll get onto that a little bit later. As everyone knows, I had so much fun on Sunday, so much fun, and I'm still getting quite a kick out of it at the moment. I don't know if you've seen my Twitter, but you might have seen like a picture of Mikel Arteta appearing every 200. It's just every time I see a Tottenham fan crying, I just send that. Leave it at that. So much fun, lads. It's been a while since we were together. The last time we spoke, things weren't looking too good. Things weren't looking too great. We were sitting here talking about Mikel Arteta possibly leaving. We were talking about top players possibly leaving. We were talking about despair and disappointment.
Do you know, Craig, one thing we did say, though? Craig, do you remember? I remember this conversation very vividly. You and I had a little chat about Gabriel Martinelli and how we thought, he might come quite good next season.
We did. I don't like to gloat. I've had this argument with plenty of other people, and I do believe when that conversation we had, I believe that Mikel Arteta was building him up or something along those lines is what I said. No, Craig. Arteta don't like him. He's gone. Well, I mean, all right. His opportunity came when Aubameyang left. But that's what you do as a footballer. You wait for that chance, and the chance is coming. And by God, has he grabbed it with both hands? I mean, let's start with that. Gabriel Martinelli, Danny. I mean, what a revelation! What a breath of fresh air he's been since he's been in the side.
It's stunning. It's added such an attacking dimension to our team. The kind of thing that we would have been expecting from Aubameyang, and the kind of thing that Aubameyang did for us. All the other teams were scared of him. Just looking here, he's got 4 goals in 3 games, and considering he's only played 19 games this season, but you take away most of the sub games and all those other ones, he's probably had a run of about maybe 7 games, and he has been absolutely outstanding. And I always say that most teams, if they're lucky, you have got one really good player, and that's who you stick 2 men on. But with us, most of the time now, we've got 2, maybe 3 really good players, and unless they're going to play 7 or 8 fullbacks, they're never going to be able to manage to do it. Even we saw Man City, unbelievable. The best attacking game of football I have seen from us in, I don't know, maybe 10 years. And then followed that up a couple of weeks later, the best defensive performance I've seen from Arsenal in, I don't know, and maybe 10 years as well. I know the Chelsea Cup final was brilliant, but Martinelli, and he has taken it. And we've seen him progress because under Emery, he came in And he played those Europa League games, and he played a few League Cup games, and we thought, yeah, we got something here. And then he went off and got injured, and then he was dropped, and we were thinking, like you two were saying, what's going on? That bloke, I foolishly back in the day went, this bloke plays like Henry. Reminds me a bit of Henry. We could have another Henry here.
Yeah.
But then he gets injured, and we don't see him for a year. So I don't mention that until now. I'm back. I'm glorifying myself for getting it right, because he is almost Henry-esque at times. You can't stop him, and he's so full of enthusiasm, and you don't know what he's going to do.
Exactly. That's why I love him so much. Every time, like he's one of the very first Arsenal players that we've had for a while. That every time he gets the ball, I lurch forward in my seat because you're just expecting him to do something.
And we're looking
Chris,
forward to
how
games.
much of a how much? What's that, mate?
We're looking forward to games as well.
Yeah,
I'm going,
exactly.
Come on, I want another game. Come on.
Yeah. Exactly that. It's kind of a strange feeling, to be honest. But Chris, what kind of impact has he had on the team for you, Gabriel Martinelli? Like I said, brought in because Aubameyang was disciplined and dropped, or whatever you want to say. He's came in and he's definitely taken that chance with both hands.
Yeah, I mean Martinelli's been absolutely amazing, hasn't he? I've absolutely loved every moment of watching him, particularly since he's broken into the team, and also broken it, as you said, at the right time. Like, it was all going a bit wrong for that Man United and Everton game. Probably the Everton game was where it really felt like it was, oh God, what's going on here? And he has just blown away any fears of what we're going to do if something happens to Aubameyang. Like last season, it was, if Aubameyang's not firing, where do we go? But we've seen where the future lies now, and that's what gets me really, really excited. Do you know what? I'm going to go onto the hype train now, so apologies. Maybe I'm just too excited because we're all back together. Do it. But I just wrote down 3 names: Ronaldo, Suarez, and Henry. Because you said he's a bit like Henry, and when he scored that goal, who was it against West Ham, where he opens his body up and finished? That's an Henry finish. The Ronaldo side of him is he's got a few tricks, but he's got the kind of tricks that Ronaldo had when he was 19, 20. And it felt like half of his tricks seemed to bounce off of his shin and the other half looked fantastic. And you got that explosive sort of pace and power, but it was also mistakes in his game. And so that's what I feel like. It's a very early stages Cristiano Ronaldo. And then the Suarez side is just the tenacity for me. Like, he hunts down everything. On Thursday night last week, he was dead because he just chases down everything. Yeah. He cannot go at anything less than 100 miles per hour. And I think Arteta's even said it, hasn't he, that we need to find like different gears in his game because he needs to realise you don't always have to go in 5th or 6th gear.
And he's got that nasty side as well, isn't he? Like,
yeah, he has. Very good point. He has got that nasty side. Very good point. He don't mind getting stuck in, does he? Which is what I love it about him. I've massive hopes for this kid. And like Chris says there, you can start comparing him. I don't like to do it because I hope that he becomes a player that we've never seen before. That he's got no same traits, but better traits than all those players that you've recommended, that you compared him to. But I think we've such a gem in this boy, and if Arteta can bring in, I'm looking for the end of January, Dan. I'm looking for a central midfielder, and I'm looking for a decent centre forward that can score us goals. Martinelli out on the left wing, Saka out on the right wing. It's what's the word I'm looking for? Not exciting. Salivating. Salivating. What?
Careful, Danny hasn't eaten. Finishes food.
Yeah. I know that's a horrible word, but it is. We really are, like you just said, Dan. Before we come on, I actually feel like that we are going places.
No, we are. And for years, we've always had our best players stolen off us, and we won't list them because we'll all end up in tears. But it's always been, we had one at a time. Again, I'm not going to list them all. But at the moment, we have got so many young, special players, and they all believe in Arteta. And that's one of the most important things. And hopefully they'll look at each other and they'll go, are you staying? Yeah, I'm staying. Well, I'm staying. Are you staying? Well, I'm staying. We can do this. Because at the moment, when they've shown against Man City and they've shown against Liverpool, we can be the best attacking team in the league and we can be the best defensive team in the league. And you put those two bits together, and like you were saying, Craig, with that, if we get someone to party, and that isn't going to be... I still like Xhaka, but his card is marked every time he goes out there. And he's a 1990s footballer playing. He's been transported through to the 21st century, and it's not working out for him. He just gets too carried. Oh, go on, Chris. I was saying he gets too carried away, and he doesn't seem to realise there's cameras everywhere. But Chris looks like he can say something there.
I agree with you. It just doesn't it feel like it seems to be going up exponentially. The sort of the Xhaka tax seems to be going up exponentially. Yeah. Like it's all we've always sort of said once or twice in a season he's going to knock the ball into his own net, like he did against Chris Wood last season, where he knocked it against him. A stupid goal to concede at Burnley. There's always going to be a silly red card, but it feels like every time there's any time of contentious decision now, and particularly since he came out with that Athletic article where he said, "Oh yeah, I've even heard some referees say to me when I think it's Amy Lawrenson did it." She said Amy Lawrence did it, and it was, I'm paraphrasing here, but I'm pretty sure he said something along the lines of, "Yeah, I've heard other referees say, oh, Granit Xhaka, he's got a hot head or he's always got that streak in him." It's like, how can you hear that from referees and not think, well, we're already a little bit behind here, and maybe, as you said, Danny, I've been a fan of Xhaka, but maybe, well, we can certainly do with an upgrade, but maybe we also need to get rid of that Xhaka tax side of it. I don't know. But going back to what you were just saying about the contracts, the player stuff, is anyone else a little bit worried about Bukayo Saka?
Man City are sniffing. They want him bad, don't they?
No, they want him bad. That kid's Arsenal through and through. He ain't leaving. No chance. No, look.
I'll just say Ashley Cole and then just leave that there.
Well,
sorry,
Ashley Cole. I mean, it depends. I suppose it depends what he is, what he's like as a person. I suppose, and is he, is he that kind of person? I mean, Ashley Cole's. I don't want. I'm not going to say on here what I want to say about Ashley Cole, but I don't think Saka is an Ashley Cole mould. Well, I hope not. Anyway, look, if they were to come in for him, it's 150 million.
And look what Liverpool did with the Coutinho money.
Yeah, do you know it's?
But he won't go. He's a gooner. He won't go.
Everyone's saying it now. Don't say it. But
my worry though. Do you know my worry though is not now. It's almost he's got a clever agent. If his agent in the summer, if they don't get any kind of deal done with 2 years to go, then we have the whole Theo Walcott. Do you remember the Theo Walcott saga where he had 2 years to go? He didn't sign his contract, and then we left it till a year to go, and then he did sign his contract eventually. But that's my worry more than anything else, is that we get beyond this summer and we go into the final year of his deal. And that's when I think not the Liverpools, but the Cities or the PSGs, even those clubs come in and their agents say, keep playing at Arsenal. We'll come in for you with 1 year to go and we'll give you more money than you can ever dream of. And that's when it becomes, how much influence does the agent have over someone like Saka? Because I feel like these days, most professional footballers seem to be beholden to their agent rather than the other way around.
Yeah. It's a strange one because Dan talks about all the other players that left. You got your Nasri's, your Nasri's, Sagnas. They left Arsenal for money. But is it at the time? Are we in a different place now as a club, Arsenal? Would Nasri, if Nasri and Sagna were paying for Arsenal now, would they go for the money?
I think the players would look at what's going to happen in the next 18 months, rest of this season, all the next season. I mean, we've got a good chance. If we beat Chelsea in the League Cup final, I think we'll beat them because Chelsea are a mess. Tuchel ain't got much time left there because he was brought in to get the best out of that £400 million front line, and he's not been able to do it. And the new £100 million striker, he's not been able to do it. And then, so that'd be one more trophy. I mean, how many managers have won the FA Cup, the League Cup, and the Charity Shield in the space of 2 or 3 years? Not many. and then we'll be back in Europe. We'll be back in the Champions League next season. Don't you worry about that. Either fourth or third we're going to get.
I love the way that you've already glossed over Victims FC, False Positives FC, and said, right, well, when we beat Chelsea in the final, Danny.
Well, we stuck the willies up them. They don't like it. They saw the other day when they were getting desperate and doing long balls and bringing out and all kinds of stuff to try and get past us. They can't do it, and they're going to be coming to our place, and they're going to be thinking, oh dear, if they saw us play Man City and their defensive performance against them, and we've got most of our team there, then they're not going to be favourites for the game. Plus, they without Mane and Salah, they're knackered.
Are they not favourites though, Dan? I mean, I would go with you when I was talking on Sunday to Graham, but Graham kind of put me back in my box and told me, everything why Liverpool are still favourites. You think we're favourites on Thursday night?
Of course we are. We're at home. Our fans are behind us for the first time in living memory, no matter what we do.
Certainly of the Emirates era, anyway.
And they can't cope with us. I mean, Alisson is still the best goalkeeper in the league, only by a gnat's testicle from Ramsdale. And we've already seen that he's starting to fail. And when they can't rely on their two up front, Mane and Salah. They're nothing without the Egyptian, without the pyramid pennant, as some people call it, the Egyptian Walcott. It's
the pyramid pennant. I like that one.
I think
I won't name the actual betting sites or anything like that. But I've just looked on one site. It says Arsenal 7-5, Liverpool 33-50. So that makes Liverpool.
That makes no sense. What does that mean in English?
I don't know that. What's wrong with the good old-fashioned 2-1, 3-1s, 10-1s, 7-1s?
Yeah.
I think it means that Liverpool are favourites.
William Phelan in the chat says Liverpool are the bookies' favourites. So
by how much though?
I'm not sure how much. William, give us some odds, son. Give us some odds. Put them up there. Your name is William. Is it really William Phelan? It's not.
It all depends on whether we got Odegaard back and whether we got Tommy Asu back. Now, if we get those two back, and we got ESR, and we got Saka and Martinelli and Lacazette, who's been playing fantastically lately, he should get a standing ovation himself. The way he should have changed his game overnight, hasn't he? Brilliant.
He's been absolutely brilliant. Would you extend his contract, Chris?
Yes.
Lacazette?
Nope. Not unless it's a nice cheeky 1-year deal, which he won't take. Because, well, do you know what? He has been playing quite well. I'm going to literally flip-flop in the space of 30 seconds here. He's played quite well, and I've just thought to myself, he's 30. He's not the sort of guy that relies on pace, and you could probably get 2 years out of him. But I think you only extend his contract if you get a top draw player. And I don't want to invoke the name of the guy in Fiorentina who everyone's talking about at the moment, because I'm sure certainly every single podcast that I've listened to over the last 3 weeks has been repeatedly saying his name. So I don't really want to go into that detail. But if you get somebody like that, of that ilk in, and you have a Lacazette and you make it clear to him you're an understudy, then fine. But you're actually changing the game as well. You're changing your approach, aren't you? Because Lacazette, I don't know that someone like Vlahovic or Isaac has been mentioned are these types of players that link players much. I don't know enough about them.
Yeah, I'm not going to pretend I know a lot about him. I can't even say his name, but people seem to think that he's coming here. The noise won't go away. But what worries me Dan, is all this, like Chris said about Saka, it's agent stuff, isn't it? It's all this. Agent wants 10 million. He wants an 8 million commission. He wants a 10 million pound signing on fee. Then his mum wants a couple of million, and his dad wants a couple of million, and his cousins and his nephews want a few quid. It's what happened to football, where it was like, there's the money. Do you want to come and play for us or not? Yeah, I do. Well, come on then. There's the cash. There's a few quid for your agent. You can come and play for us.
Give him the Ian Wright book, where Ian Wright says in his book, I went to meet Arsenal, went in the office, signed the contract, and they went, oh, how much am I on? And they said $8,000 a week. He went, lovely. That's what he needs to do. Bit of good news for us, though. Comoros, who are 137th in the world, are beating Ghana 1-0. And if that stays away, Ghana are out.
Because that means Thomas...
Thomas...
Partey. Not Partey, is it? It's... No, it's not. It's Thomas Work. get together, isn't it, or something? It's not. You can't call it a party anymore. Yeah.
Very
Thomas
clever.
work gathering. Thomas work gathering, as it's now called.
Yeah.
Thomas work gathering. He'll be back then, will he? I mean, he'll be back for the North London derby if it gets rearranged in the next few days.
Well, I think anyway, they'll all be back for the North London derby at this rate. But just looking at the scores, it's 25 minutes gone. They're 1-0 down, and that means they'll finish bottom of the group with 1 point from 3 games. But Comoros are rubbish, so I expect Garnet to come back and win them, beat them.
If they lose, can we fly him back like tonight and get him?
I'll go and get him
Thursday. Yeah,
the van's full of diesel. I'll be straight down there.
It does pose an interesting question for Burnley though. The weekend, assuming that Burnley don't cry off the game on a game at the weekend, and I'm sure Gary Neville will have lots to say about Burnley over the next couple of days, given that they sold Chris Wood as well.
No one cares about that though.
Yeah, exactly. But if we have Thomas Partey available and Lokonga's there, do you think we still have the same urgency and worry about going out and getting a central mid? I think they will, but it feels like at the moment we need to do it like now.
Yeah.
I keep refreshing my Twitter feed thinking, come on, Ornstein, let's just have something. Let's have something to sink our teeth into, comes out tonight, and then saying, Arsenal in advanced talks type stuff. And then Wednesday during the day, it all happens. And then maybe they're not ready for Thursday, but at least we've got them in for the Burnley game. Do you think they have that same urgency as we have? And do you think Thomas Partey comes back in means they probably think, well, actually, we've got the whole window to make a decision then?
Good question. I'm like you. I want it done now. And I would say Arsenal are urgent enough. I reckon. I reckon they are, and I think Edu and Arteta will bring in someone. Possibly not before Thursday, but I definitely believe they'll bring in someone before the end of the transfer window, if not 2. Obviously, I would love to see a central midfielder rock up. Bruno Guimarães. I don't think that. I think Arta that one's kind of off, isn't it? I think if we look into what we've seen.
Charles Watts said today that it looks like it's going to get done next week. I don't want him. He's not any good. A friend of Josh from my pod, his friend is a Barcelona fan, and he said rubbish player, very lazy, doesn't do the good job. And then I watched Tom's pod where he was doing a breakdown on it, and he said all the stats not good, done nothing this season, very lazy, don't want him.
That's interesting.
I think we should learn our lesson, Dan. That's the only thing I'll say. I think we should learn our lesson of kind of judging them before they get here. Because, I mean, look at the abuse Aaron Ramsdale got. Oh, I don't want him. He's had 2 relegations. Do you know? And then he turns out to be a revelation. Do you know what I mean?
Ramsdale's law. The law of Ramsdale.
One of the best goalkeepers in the league, without a doubt.
Do you know I listened to Harry's Chronicle of the Gooner pod? He did a really interesting one with a guy, I can't remember his name, an Italian Juve fan, Danny, and the guy was saying, look, he's just not playing in the right system. He's playing in a system which is built on defensive solidity, whereas Arta Melo is the kind of guy that wants to receive the ball from the defenders or the goalkeepers at the back, have a little look up and play passes. And some of the things that he said in that, if anyone hasn't listened to it, it's worth a listen actually, because he says some interesting things about his style of play, about how he receives the ball, and he's often receiving the ball and he's very quick to turn and he's good over sort of short distances.
Sounds like
Torreira.
Well, I hope he's a bit better than him.
No, when he first joined us, he was magnificent. That's the kind of role he was doing, getting it off the back 4, bringing it out, and then breaking up play and doing wonders with it.
Yeah, I had really high hopes for him. Really, really high hopes for him. Going back to the Liverpool thing quickly, this one comes in from Peter. Thank you very much, Peter, for your kind donation. He says, we're not favourites. Liverpool had a bad night in the first leg. They still have Jota. It's going to take a huge effort for Arsenal to win.
Nonsense.
Arsenal at home, though. Arsenal at home are a very different beast, aren't we? As we've already seen. We've put a lot of teams to one side at home, and the way that we lined up against Man City are a better team than Liverpool. That was Man City's best team. If we're making the assumption that, do we think we hope we'll have Ramsdale, Gabriel, White, maybe Tierney, although I suppose there's rumours that he's picked up a knock. You've got Sambi. The only other question mark is who was alongside Sambi. But you've got Ødegaard, we've got Saka. Hopefully we've got Smith Rowe. That's a question mark too. And then you've got Lacazette. There's a lot of players that played in that Man City game that are going to play in the game against Liverpool, I hope. If that's the case, why can't we just do a number on them like we did against Man City?
I'm very confident we're going to beat them. Very confident that we're going to win. We're going to be well rested. And I'm going back to it, but I think that the crowd are going to have a massive part to play on Thursday night. I really do.
Away fans outsang the Anfield fans.
Yeah. I mean, I was reading. I'm not sure. I can't remember where I got it now, but I was reading a report to say that an Arsenal fan actually said that he reckons that they turn up "You'll Never Walk Alone" at the start of the game. They turn it up on the speakers because the Arsenal fans were down the other end shouting, giving it Arsenal. And they couldn't hear it. Love it. Absolutely love that. Absolutely.
Are you going to the game, Chris?
I am not actually, because I was a bit silly over the Christmas period and a bit hungover when the tickets came out. And then I just couldn't be bothered, and I was just too full up with mince pies and beer and comatose over that to actually be bothered to get onto my computer in the evening. I think I had a couple of people ask me about it. And it was one of those things that I just thought, it's COVID at the moment. I'm not getting out much. I'm not able to get to many games. I don't know why. I just decided against it. I'm instantly regretting that now. I've been regretting it basically for about 2 weeks.
And all the mince pies.
I went to the Forest game, but you're right, Craig. The atmosphere is amazing. Even the Forest game, which was a terrible performance, still lots of connection. And I went to the West Brom game as well, the 6-0 in the cup and the West Brom game. The atmosphere was amazing there, and it's helped by some of those players. Like Ramsdale was chatting away to us all night when he was behind our goal, and it was really fantastic to see that rapport.
Chatting away, what was he saying?
Kind of putting his thumbs up and giving us all
like Seaman used to.
Come on, when we'd score, he'd be like, "Come on," and then he'd be waving and stuff, and just having a little bit of a joke and a laugh, and a ball would go wide or something, and he'd kind of give people a look and give them a little wink and stuff and things like that.
Did you see that video of him at Leeds?
Yeah.
Where he made paper round money.
Oh my God, it was absolutely brilliant. The geezer behind the goal, "Don't you effing come here and celebrate here, you southern fucking this, that, and the other." And Ramsdale's just
love it,
waving at him. I absolutely love it. What has changed then with the atmosphere, in your opinion, then, Dan? What's changed it? Because
hashtag
it was only 6 months.
It
was only 6 months ago that you'd watch it on the telly, and it was the empty Emirates or the silent Emirates or the library, whatever you want to call it. What's changed it, Dan?
Belief that the people at the top are doing their job. Edu got pelts for ages, which is why I'm not moaning about Edu now. We were quoted 60 million for Ødegaard. He waited and he waited and he waited, got it for 35. And then when it got Ramsdale under the nose of a few others, when it got Ben White, when Man City were looking at Ben White, and he's doing his job. Arteta doing his job. Arteta's learning from his mistakes. I don't think if anyone messes up now, I don't think he's going to isolate them like he did some of the Bundesliga bastards. He's cleared out a whole load of players who I've said before that these players are round about Arteta's age, his era of football, and it must be hard for him to manage them or them to be managed by him. So he's got all those out. He's got our average age of a player is 23 or something like that. He's got a whole load of young men, and they all believe in him, and they all believe. We've seen in the summer them. If you'd have said before the transfer window in the summer, we're going to spend 150 million on all that, we're going to what? We're going to buy 2 wingers from France at 75 million each that we've never heard of again. Didn't spend we spent more money than anyone else in the summer transfer window. Everything that we want from the club, they're doing at the moment. And so the players believe in it, the fans are believing in it, and they're showing it on the pitch. We're still going to have some hiccups. If we get smashed 5-0 by Liverpool in the semi-final, I won't care. I'll still be behind it, because you can see only the most stubborn, ignorant football fan will look at that and go, "No, Arteta's wrong. The whole thing's wrong. You can't." You look at it all. Man City game, Liverpool game. There you go. You need to attack. You need to defend. We've done it all, and that they can all see that. And it's bringing everybody together for the first time. Even before I started podcasting in 2012, I've never felt it like this.
Yeah. Chris, what's the general consensus amongst the fans in the stands? I mean, I know you go to a lot of games, you go to a lot of away games. When you're all together in the pub, what's the consensus? What
connection?
Connection.
Do you know what it is? I think it's when we were signing players like Mkhitaryan, even Aubameyang. Aubameyang's a big signing. He scored lots of goals for us. Let's ignore what's happened recently. He's still scored loads of goals for us. He's been a Rolls-Royce player for us. But we kind of always knew what we were getting. Whereas I feel like at the beginning of this season, there was some form of jeopardy that we didn't really know what we were getting. A lot of us, me included, were a bit like, well, this could all go terribly wrong. But the opportunity for it to go terribly right was like the unknown quantity. Yeah. Whereas when you're signing people like David Luiz and Willian, you kind of know-ish what you're going to get. You know that this is the best that they can get. And in fact, they're declining because of their ages. Now we've got a bunch of players that have gelled well together. They were unknown quantities, and they've shown actually they can work together in a system. They believe in the manager, and because of their age profiles, we're all looking at this as fans and saying we could be here for 5 years with this lot. And in 5 years, if they're where they are now after 4 months of working together, what's going to happen this time next year? I mean, if we get this right in terms of augmenting the squad, we could be looking at a title challenging side in 18 months.
You say 5 years. All of those players can still be playing with us in a decade if they wanted to. Imagine that. It'd be like the old days when we had players that have made 400 or 500 appearances for Arsenal. If things go right, I don't expect us to win the title this year or next year or the year after or the year after. But
18 months. You heard it here first.
But I think if we'll be putting a good fight on for it, though, Craig. It's exciting.
I think I'm very, very excited about what's going to happen in the next few years, and I want to go what Chris said there about actually thinking about what could happen instead of what is going to happen. I lie here sometimes thinking, Christ Almighty, if we can just, like I've said earlier on, if we can get that centre forward in, if we can get that central midfielder in, with Martinelli, Saka. Thomas Partey, get him a nice partner. Odegaard, you've got Ben White and Gabriel forming a beautiful partnership. You've got Kieran Tierney. You've got Tommy Yasu, who for me has been like the signing of the decade.
16 million.
Yeah, unbelievable. You look at the average ages, like you've just called out there, 23 years of age. I mean, the future is rosy. And like you say, Dan, if anyone can't see what Mikel Arteta has done since he's been here. Yes, there's been massive bumps in the road. Yes, there's been embarrassing defeats. Yes, there's been arguments. Yes, there's been players dropped. But even when you look past all that, you have to look past all that and see where we are today. And no one, I didn't expect him. I didn't expect him to last this season. I really didn't. I really thought he was going to go. I thought he was going to get sacked. I thought the pressure was going to be too much and that we were going to crumble. But I'll say
we both thought that, and we'd go, well, we were wrong. Too many people won't do it.
How wrong were we? And how happy am I that I was wrong? But like I said to Lee, I said to Lee last night, and I'll come to you both on this question. If anyone thinks out there that these players have got anything against Mikel Arteta, or if anyone out there thinks that these players are not playing for him, then you need to go back and watch that Liverpool game. And you need to go back and watch that Man United game. Because there is no way on this earth that not one of those players on that pitch wasn't playing for his boss. Not one. Chris?
Yeah. Absolutely. We kind of heard noises about it, even when we were in a terrible patch last season, didn't we? We heard noises about there are a certain core of players that they absolutely believe this system, even though it was going terrible. And then when we started to pick up last year, everyone's thinking, okay, so it's clicked. And then it got a bit sort of ropey towards the end of last season at times, the Villarreal game and bits like that. And people start to question, but we were missing players at times, bits like that. I think what's interesting is that as we've gone into this season, it started off terribly. Clearly with players that Mikel Arteta didn't fancy but was being forced into because we hadn't made the signings that we wanted to. We've made the signings that we needed to. And one of the things that I've found really interesting is that the people that spend all of their time on these sports stats websites, and all we've heard is underlying metrics. Well, actually, even though I've just said to people going on sports stats websites, I'm actually on FBref right now having a little look. But you look at some of the metrics, and we're like fourth in terms of like shots, fourth in terms of shots on target, fourth in terms of like fifth in terms of goals scored and things like that. Those metrics are now readdressing themselves because the three of us and Arsenal fans everywhere have seen on the eye test after that international break in September, our eye test said things are improving, things are getting better bit by bit. But you still have people saying, well, some of these underlying metrics they're not that great. And you saw all those stats, didn't you? Arsenal were like third from bottom in the league from pressing or goals scored or shots on target or bits like that. And it seems like something over the Christmas or just before Christmas period has just clicked. And we are taking lots more shots. We are defending with our lives. Those players are defending like their lives depended on it. We don't press as much as some teams, but we do press when we need to press. I'm only seeing positives from the eye test, and that's being backed up by the stats. And for me, it's delightful because you're getting the passion and the desire from the players. The stats side of it is working, and we're getting the results as well. Sorry,
Absolutely.
monologue.
Oh, that's brilliant, mate. You could sit here and listen to you all night. Dan, what to follow on from Chris about the players, people saying that no, he's got it wrong, he gets it wrong, this player was not playing this down tools. No way, absolutely no way. And how good is it to see a side after everything that we've been through as fans? Like I said, we've seen some poor performances, but how good is it now? Like Chris says, the eye test. How good is it now to actually be able to see the process, if you want? I haven't used that word for a long time. But how good is it? How good is it to see it finally clicking together?
It is. It's something I noticed from recent games is something that I watch all Arsenal games home and away. I watch a load of Dortmund games, watch some Inter Milan games. I probably watch maybe 100 games a season, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less. And when was the last time you saw players collapse on the pitch like we did after those two games that wasn't a losing cup final team? Never. You never see that in league football unless they've been saved from relegation on the last day of the season. Those players have given everything, the stereotypical football 110%, which doesn't exist. They've given their 100%, and they were knackered. And you see them laying on the floor. You couldn't give any more. And for someone like Arteta, he must look at that and gone, they've done me right. They've even when he wasn't there because he wasn't allowed to be at the game. Absolutely amazing the amount of belief they have in him to be able just to do it. And players coming in like Chambers hasn't played since I think the 26th of October. For him to come in and give that kind of performance, and although some of the younger players that we got in, I think Lacazette has struggled because that's the problem that that Arteta for me. He has his best 11. Well, we got the best 12. We got a team of 12 first-team players, and then the rest of them are on the fringe of it. But what Arteta doesn't do, which I think he does need to do, when you're playing Championship Manager or Football Manager, you can't just bring a player in out of the cold. You need to give him 5 minutes at the end of a game just to keep him warmed up, keep him ready, keep the rust off him. He's not been doing that. Lokonga went about 6 or 7 games without playing a game, sitting on the bench, and then all of a sudden he's starting. And we saw in that game that he did start, that he looked terrible. He was giving the ball away, making mistakes. Plus, when he's new to the team, these players should be getting minutes every now and then to try and synchronise themselves with how the team plays, and he hasn't been doing that. But talking about Arteta and the things that he does, he hasn't. Wenger used to be criticised so often. He'd buy a player and go, "Well, I bought him now. I'm going to use him forever." Mari in, played him, don't want him, out already. Done it like that. Fantastic. Just shows that he's ruthless as well, and that must show a sign to the players. You don't do what I want, you're out, and you're going to miss out on something huge here.
How do you feel? There's a question for you. How do you feel his treatment before? How do you feel his treatment of Tavares at Nottingham Forest, Chris? You were in the ground that day. what was it? What was the reaction in the crowd when he took him off? Because I've heard people say that he shouldn't have done it, this, that, and the other.
Yeah,
Makes a mockery of him, this, that, and the other. But what was the reaction?
In the ground live, there was about 5 or 6 people around me that said he must have an injury because none of us could believe it. Like, we all saw he had a shocker, Tavares. We all knew that. It wasn't actually until I saw some of the Orbinio type stats afterwards of how many times he gave the ball away and bits like that I thought, oh, blimey, okay, maybe he did have a Boué at Wigan-esque performance all those years ago. But in live play, it was just, he wasn't great, and that was about it. So the fans were just a bit confused, I think, more than anything else.
Yeah.
He obviously chucked his stuff down, and then it was interesting though, because I don't know if the cameras focused in on it, but he walked around Arteta. He didn't go anywhere near Arteta. He chucked his gloves down, and he just kind of skulked into the seated area. Whereas sometimes I feel like players, if they've got the right arseache, they'll just be like, right, I'm going to walk down into the changing room. So
yeah.
And there was a few people that kind of gave him a little pat, whatever it was. So I just assumed it was an injury for that reason. I thought it was obviously, and the reason he chucked his gloves down was probably because he's picked up a knock and he knows I don't get many chances. And so that's why I've gone down. But I think it was good that he gave him some minutes against Liverpool, because it basically said, he cocked up. He didn't play well. He wasn't doing what I wanted at Nottingham Forest. He was out, but I'm bringing him back in for the next game. And I've heard a couple of people say, I wonder if he'll play on Thursday. Now, I think that's probably dependent on how fit Tierney is. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world if he plays on Thursday, to be honest with you.
I don't think it. I totally agree with you. Because one thing I will say about Tavares is that he had been great up until that Nottingham Forest game. And I was actually getting a little bit concerned for Kieran Tierney. But the 2 weeks before, or the 3 weeks before Christmas, when he came into the team, I thought he'd done magnificently well. Dan, what was your reaction to that when he took him off?
He was obviously angry about it, but I think Arteta has learned that if players have got the hump, it's probably best just to leave them to cool down. Don't go and confront them. And I think it was just bad for him, like you were saying, that he's playing on the side where Arteta was managing, and he obviously wasn't listening. But I do think that he's come from playing in the Portuguese league, where he is probably a flair player and can run about like Roberto Carlos and curl stuff in from all over the place. But you can't do that in the Premier League or in top league English football, top level English football. You've got to be a little bit more disciplined. You can't keep running forward, which is why I didn't want him ahead of Tierney, because Tierney will do it all. He won't. He's constantly running forward. And we've seen a couple of times Tierney left back and him at left wing back, left midfielder. I think that's got legs maybe for future games if we need it, because he does love to get forward. But he's just a young man who wants to get out there. I mean, like we say, no one ever wanted to play in goal, did they? Apart from you, because everyone wanted to go out. Yeah, that's it. Because and you,
goalkeepers union, mate. Goalkeepers
union. Yeah, because you as a young man, you want to get out there and express yourself, didn't you? I mean, for Ramsdale to be so good at 23, and for Tavares to go out there, he doesn't want to be stuck at left back, does he? He wants to be going down there, putting crosses in and taking people on. And so it's understandable, but he'll learn from his mistakes, and Arteta will probably let him get away with a few.
Yeah, I think the general opinion is that Arteta done the right thing. But then, like, when I sat back and thought about it, it's completely the right thing to do, because it sends a message out to everyone else. If you fucking shit, then you're coming off. Simple as that. And that's the kind of... it didn't work against Nottingham Forest, clearly. But it looked like it worked against Manchester City, and it looked like it worked against Liverpool. There's a question coming in here from Dave Masters, quite an interesting one. Thank you very much, David, for your question. He says, is there any chance that Aubameyang can put aside what has happened and put 100% back in for the Arsenal? Now, we kind of covered this last night. I don't think there is any way back for him, to be honest. I think that it's been done. He turned up late for the North London derby, was disciplined. He's been disciplined again for whatever reason. Some people say it was because he was late back from visiting his mum. Some say it was because he was photographed in a tattooist when he said he was sick. There's all kinds of things going around the place. But for me, I unfortunately think that Aubameyang's time is done at Arsenal. Danny, what do you reckon?
He is. He's a world-class player. He's a legend in his own country. Every team and fan in the world will have heard of him. He hasn't got the time just to sit around and earn his way back into Arteta's favour. He knows that on his day, he's only 31, coming up, I think he's 32 soon. Then he knows on his day he could walk into any side in the world when he's at full pace, Aubameyang, goals and speed and all that lot, because he hasn't lost his pace, which is pretty impressive for someone of his age. And he can still do his celebration backflips. But he knows that he can do that, and he'll have his agent probably in his ear going, look, Barcelona, AC Milan, somewhere like that. He's got another move in him. Don't think it's about money. I think it's about his own pride and his own big-headedness. And you can't blame when you have been consistently one of the best strikers in the world for years and years, be it for Saint Etienne, be it for Dortmund and for Arsenal until this season. And I think he'll go elsewhere. He could even go to Newcastle and he'll be banging in goals probably, maybe in the Championship, but he'll still be banging in goals. But Milan are going to need a new striker, aren't they? And Barcelona always need people on a free or on a loan. Yeah, but I think it's over and done with for him. I mean, he's done the same with the Gabon, hasn't he? He was meant to meet up with them. He buggered off to Dubai, seen in a bar, got COVID, heart problems, missed all 3 group games.
Yeah,
it's his attitude with everything, not just Arsenal.
That's a great point and a great thing to bring up. I mean, it just goes to show the mentality of the man, Chris, doesn't it? I mean, I love him, of course, when he's playing well and he's banging in the goals and he's scoring goals like he did in the cup final. He's scoring important goals. But when you see, he's late for the North London derby, then he's been disciplined again. And then why are you wondering, is it really him? And then you see him in the African Nations Cup when he should be with his teammates, but he's not. He's in Dubai with his brother and he's, it's just a total mess.
Well, the problem, so if you take I know this isn't the case, but if you take point A as being the North London derby last season and point B at when the club announced, he's not going to be captain anymore, and you think these are 2 incidents that we know about up until that point. I mean, all of this stuff that's happened in Dubai has happened after the club have obviously stripped him of the captaincy. You would say, there's a couple of instances there where he's demonstrated that he's not really the most focused and professional of footballers. However, I do actually know, because I'm a friend of mine actually knows somebody within Arsenal's backroom team, that this isn't the first. This stuff has been happening quite regularly, is what I've been told. The club don't make a lot of noise about it. You wouldn't expect them to, but from what I've been told, is this happens quite regularly. It's happened quite regularly. And when I was told that, I thought to myself, I wonder why it's kept under wraps so much and it's got to this boiling point. And then I started to think, I wonder if it's because his form has dipped. If you're a £60 million footballer on 300 grand a week and you're the captain of the club and you're banging in goals every week, if you turn up late to training, or if you are maybe leading an exciting nightlife, shall we say, you maybe are given a little bit of different leeway. Maybe that you're treated a little bit differently to some of the other players, particularly the young players, if you're still banging in goals. But if you're not doing that anymore, then you're not doing the one thing that was keeping you from essentially being thrown under the bus. I'm not saying he's been thrown on the bus, he's done it to himself, but it feels to me like the club has just said, well, hang on a second, you're not even scoring the goals anymore, so we don't actually need to protect you or to keep this from the public eye anymore. And now we're seeing stuff around, as you said, the Dubai and then COVID and bits like that. So it's a shame. Does he have a future? I don't think so either. Half of me thought, if we get to February the 1st and we haven't signed a striker, then he's got to have a future, hasn't he? But I think Arteta will just say, do you know what? I'll keep an Eddie Nketiah who will miss chances, but at least he'll put the effort in instead, which personally I think is the wrong thing. I'd love them to mend their bridges, but it depends on what he's done that we don't know. We're not privy to that information.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm with you. I think I hope that he can come back and get over his health conditions and come back into the team and do a job. Do I think that's going to happen? No, I don't. I think Arteta would have had enough of him now, and especially if we're to believe what you've just told us there about that this is not the first. I mean, look, I can remember Borussia Dortmund fans laughing at me, saying, "Oh, you're going to have he's a troublemaker. He's a troublemaker. You're going to have problems with him." And I'd be going back, going, "Oh yeah, look at the problems we're having. Like, fucking 20 goals a season. Oh, they're awful. But now, I kind of look silly now with a bit of egg on my face because they were right all along. And I don't think he's got any future at Arsenal Football Club anymore. And I think we'll see him depart either in. Well, it probably won't be January, will it? But I think we'll see him depart in the summer if we can get a buyer.
Do you think it definitely won't happen in January?
Pardon?
Do you think it definitely won't happen in January?
I can't see it happening now. Not after now he's come back from the African nations with heart issues. I can't see how any club would. I mean, I know they do medicals and stuff like that, but I mean, as a football manager, it's going to put you off straight away, isn't it? Surely.
Yeah, actually, yeah, you're probably right.
Do you know? Someone says, "Oh, you can sign Aubameyang." The first thing I'm saying is, "Hang on a minute, he's just come back with heart problems, isn't he?"
But it's such a shame because those young players at the club now could learn so much from him, and he's a lovely bloke, always happy and smiley. Although he's denying that he's bald, which always worries me. But he needs to have a word with Big Bob, send him down to his bloke, get his locks back. Maybe he's a bit like Samson, isn't he? Lost his hair, lost his powers.
Yeah, I mean, surely he could just. I mean, instead of going to Dubai, he should have gone to Turkey and just got his hair done.
He's had his teeth sorted out, hasn't he?
Yeah. Lads, do you know what? We've been going for an hour, and it's been absolutely brilliant talking to you both again. And I can't wait to do more of these. I do like these ones. It's nice and light-hearted. What more would it be with Dan here, anyway? It's not as intense as the Monday night one. We do go a bit intense on a Monday. So I just want to bring one more. Just one thing I've actually seen here, which is the definition of ironic and irony. The comment comes here. It says this should be called 3 men jizzing over Arteta.
That's a friend of mine.
Mr. Waffle. I mean, how ironic is that? Mr. Waffle coming in here talking waffle, saying should be called 3 men jizzing over Arteta.
Very funny.
Deary me. I hope you have a lovely evening, Mr. Waffle. Thanks for coming along and thanks for giving us views. Thanks very much indeed. We much appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, next time he's been on a couple of my preview shows. Next time he's on a preview show, you can come and give him grief in the chat.
Oh, great. I like that. I like that kind of stuff. No, that's all right. Here's another one that Arteta can't manage senior players. He should be the under-9s manager.
Now you can piss off.
Yeah. Danny, it's been an absolute pleasure to sit down and talk football again with you. Thank you very much indeed, mate. Where can people find you? When is your next Bergkamp Wonderland podcast? Please.
It's tomorrow night, live on YouTube. So far, it's me, John Welsh, if he can get time off, and James Raoul Stokes, the dirty Bristolian, and maybe one other if I can dig up another. And it's lovely to see you back doing podcasting again. We've missed you.
Thank you very much, Danny. I really, really appreciate that. Chris, thank you very much. I love talking about football with you. I love reading your stuff most mornings while I'm wiping the sleep out of my eye. Reading stuff that your blogs, your great blogs. Suburban Gooner Chris is a great follow on Twitter. Please go and follow him. Chris, thank you very much for coming here this evening and joining us.
Cheers, man. Always good to join you.
Isn't it? I think a bit of banter. There you go.
Love it.
Gotta love a bit of banter. Thank you very much to everyone who stayed around and watched us this evening. Bit of news on Friday night at 9:00, the Always Arsenal show with Amanda. Amanda's special guest is none other than Arsenal legend, Mr. Alan Smith. So make sure at 9:00 you are tuned into the Same Old Arsenal, where Amanda will be talking to Alan Smith about all things Arsenal, state of the club at the moment. And he'll be taking your questions. So if you want to ask Alan Smith a question, be here at 9:00 on Friday. Until then, until we see you all again, thank you very much. Take care of yourselves and each other. Up the Arsenal.